we see that more and more domestic media in Mexico, but also international media, pay increasing attention to violence, criminal activities in Mexico, and also it's important to review what is going on in terms of prosperity, in terms of responses by different levels of government to what has been become a very serious criminal scene in Mexico. For Mexico, and I guess for any other country, security and prosperity go hand in hand. We know that we cannot achieve prosperity if our lives or property are in danger by the lack of security. And the contrary is also true. We cannot feel secure if we do not live in an environment that provides people with opportunities and stability. If we speak about prosperity, as it was suggested to us today, I would like to share with you information about a country that last year had an economic growth about 5.5% in its GDP. A country with a constantly increasing per capita income, already above the $10,000 mark, an economy that was able to create more than 800,000 new jobs only last year, that attracted increasing flows of foreign investment, and received more than 22 million people as tourists. And that country is Mexico, we did. A country that has enjoyed more than 15 years now without a financial crisis. A country that enjoys a favorable geographic location and that every year trades goods and services with international community amounting more than $600 billion, which is an impressive amount for any comparison. An economy, I mean the Mexican economy, that has been recognized for its sound economic policies, for its fiscal balance, for being the 11th largest economy in the world, a responsible partner in international affairs, that will have the responsibility to coordinate the work of the G20 next year. These are the facts I wanted to start with for our presentation today. Facts that portray a positive scenario on prosperity in Mexico. Unfortunately, I said before this too, there are other negative facts associated with increased acts of violence, extortion, robbery, and other expressions of crime that tend to hinder positive development and that pose real challenges to stability, to the rule of law, to prosperity of more than 112 million Mexicans. As I said before, promoting prosperity requires security. And that is the main reason that explains why, from the outset of his administration, President Calderón decided to implement an integral strategy of national security and public safety, comprising 5 broad areas. The first area was having related to containment of criminal acts by deploying the federal police and the military throughout the national territory and by coordinating actions with state and local police forces. Second area of this strategy has been actions aimed at dismantling the largest criminal organizations and affecting their capabilities and resources. They were growing very large and very influential. Let me mention only for this second part of the program examples of results. And the numbers I think will give you some idea of what the results have been in terms of confiscations, seizure of different illegal goods. In the last 4 years, there have been seizures of more than 8,000 tons of marijuana, more than 100 tons of cocaine, more than 50 tons of chemicals to produce synthetic drugs, over $425 million in cash, close to 400 chips, you can imagine 400 chips, and more than 500 airplanes that have been confiscated in Mexico to criminal groups. Also, more than 100,000 weapons have been confiscated and millions of ammunition that were in the hands of criminal groups. In this process, more than 60,000 people have been arrested, including 36 of 40 drug lords, and more than 200 criminals have been extradited to face charges in other countries. Another element of this strategy has been the improvement of institutional capabilities we have to remember that the increase in criminal activities happened in Mexico largely because the lack of institutional possibilities to respond to this phenomenon. And this area has included, again, coordination with local governments. We have two very good representatives of these governments today with us. And also the promotion of the much needed reforms to the legal framework and the introduction of changes in the functioning of the judiciary system. It is important to say that the strategy has not been limited to the involvement of police and the military, but has followed an integral approach covering different public policies to prevent crime, to reduce drug addiction, to recover public spaces from gangs, and to reconstruct the social fabric and provide with opportunities, particularly to young people. In some, public policies aim at improving conditions for development. And another, last but not least important element of this strategy has to do with international cooperation. International cooperation has included agreements at regional and hemispheric levels, and paying special attention to cooperation with the United States. It is important to keep in mind that ever since the inception of NAFTA, Mexico, Canada, and the United States have been working together on a comprehensive approach to promote development. This concept has evolved to the concept of security and prosperity, as it was adopted under the acronym of ASPAN, ASPAN, the Alliance for Security and Prosperity in North America, that was conceived 10 years ago. In the last few years, Mexico and the United States have made additional progress under the Merida Initiative, and by adopting the principle of common and shared responsibility in the areas of reducing drug consumption and criminal activities on a bilateral basis, and also in cooperation with other Latin American countries, mostly the Central American ones, in Colombia. It has been recognized by the government participating in these actions that more needs to be done in areas of fighting distributors of drugs in the United States, stopping the flows of weapons from the United States to Mexico, taking additional actions against money laundering, and actions that diminish the financial assets of criminal organizations. We are working on that together with our neighbors to the north. And we know that we also need to do more to reduce corruption and collusion of authorities in both countries. Other actions which are being concerted with the international community include the control of chemical precursors of drugs. Most of them come not from the United States, but come from Asian countries. Fighting international cartels of drugs in terms of production and distribution. Training police forces in a different way. Sharing intelligence, and in general, adopting the best practices that allow us to eliminate violence, to reduce crime, to avoid impunity, so that we protect the legal activities that would mean providing with a normal life for the general public. I think that this is the way we can conceive how prosperity and security are now interrelated in Mexico, and I thank again the Center for inviting us to take part in this panel. Thank you very much.